This episode can help solve all your relationship problems. In this very powerful episode, we sit down with author and surgeon Rikard Karlsson. Rikard is a Swedish surgeon and he has written a book called The Art of Connecting with Yourself and Others. And in this discussion, you will really understand the ways in which you can improve your relationship, not just with others, but also yourself. You'll get to understand the power of kindness and the magic that it could weave when it comes to handling your relationships. A lot of amazing concepts were discussed in this episode. Rikard is an amazing individual, and the sheer warmth with which he answered all my questions, it was just something amazing and very new for me. I'm sure that after watching this entire episode, you'll feel very comfortable as if someone gave you a warm mug of cocoa in chilling winter. This is that kind of a comfort episode. Watch this episode and I'm sure you'll gain a lot, and it will improve relationships with people around you and also with yourself. And I again request that please subscribe to our channel. This is the only way in which we can grow and the only way in which we can keep on continuing to get you amazing authors and to discuss such amazing subjects. Thank you. Rikard, welcome to Discovery of an Author podcast. And I'm really excited for this conversation. And thank you so much for accepting our invite to be on our podcast.
Thank you so much, Raghav. I'm really happy to be here. And I really appreciate the invitation. I'm so happy to be here.
I want to ask you, the art of connecting with yourself, when did you release the original book in your own native language in your country? What year did it first got released?
It was released just in the last day of 2019. So it was like 2020, you can say. That was exactly just before the pandemic.
Yeah, just before the pandemic.
So that was like 2 months before. Yeah.
So I think it really came at a good time because during the pandemic globally people were discovering that they have a lot of mental issues. They were discovering a lot of problems. They were discovering a lot of relationship based problems as well. So I think that book in a way came out in a good time, because as I was telling you before the recording, this book really helped me personally to offload a lot of baggages. And I'll come to the specific parts which have really spoken to me, which have really worked with me. So Rikard, and how was the reaction? How was the reaction? I'm very curious to know, because at that time, what were the feedbacks that you got, and what are the things that really stuck with you, that really motivated you that yes, I need to make this book reach out to a wider audience, and then you decided to write it in English as well. So I want to understand what motivated you, what were the feedbacks, and what did people say after reading your book?
So that's a really good question. First of all, I can say that, like, honestly, when the book came out, I was kind of like, I was hoping for, now it's going to be like, I'm going to do like a lot of promotion. It's going to and then COVID came, and it was like a wet blanket on both, because we all know how it was. It was very special. So the book kind of like, it was kind of like buried under that wet blanket, and but it was, I got like, I would say, I got like very, I would say, some different, I would say it's also very interesting. It's because there were different reactions. Some, and I think that if we go back to the part where I said that you can read it in different ways or different layers, the people that, because it's very much about finding your readers.
Yeah.
It's very much finding the people that gain from the book, especially this kind of book. So some people, they were reading on the superficial level, and I was like, yeah, that was good, yeah, oh. And some people, they came like, this was one of the best books I've read. It really resonated with me. It really touched me. It really, and I have it on my bed, like, and I go back and read parts of it. And that is the whole spectrum kind of. And I realized that um, and this is very interesting, Raghav. There is a unique thing happening when my words meet the reader's reflections. It's like a chemical reaction. You never know what happens, but it's between you and me. Because the reflections are not the same. The people are not the same. My words are the same, but they awaken something, like it was for you. We can talk more about that. But what happened between you and me, that's our thing. And that's amazing. Because I've never met you. We have never talked before. We had email contact. But I created something in you. And that is that's amazing. And I think that, to me, I'm really, really filled with gratitude when I think about this. The readers are giving me the most valuable assets they have, the time and the presence. They give that to me and read my book. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And can I help one person, like we were talking like before? Can my words lift a burden or help someone achieve something? I'm perfectly happy.
And no one can take this feeling from you. No one can take this thing from you. It will always be with you, and it will always propel you and push you to create something even better and further, and to make sure that it reaches out to a wider audience, because you're absolutely right. And thank you for being very honest. A lot of authors are not that honest. When you specifically said that some read it very shallowly and they said, Ki, haan, it's okay, it's fine. But others who really established connection, that's what an authors crave for. That is what you want, that if I'm able to impact even one, and he and she is now leading a better life because of what I have dedicated to and what I've written, that is your yeah, nothing better than that.
That's my biggest reward.
Sorry for the interruption, but our YouTube statistics show that around 65% of all of you who are consistently consuming our episodes are not subscribing to our channel. So this is my request to all of those who do enjoy our content and are finding value in it, to please subscribe to our channel. This is the only way in which we can grow. Thank you, and please continue watching and listening to this episode. So that is beautiful. Rikard, now what I want to do, I really want people to understand some concept from the book, get them excited enough to pick your entire book. So now in your book, The Art of Connecting with Yourself and Others, the basic premise is to establish relationships, is to nurture them, nurture the relationship, grow them, be kind, not only towards other, but towards yourself as well. That is something that, I'm divided, but we'll come to that part as well. I'm really divided over there, but I'll come to that part. So now
looking forward to that.
Yeah. So now what I want to do, there are certain of all the ways and methods that you have mentioned in your book by which we can do that, by which we can have connections. There are certain that I want to speak with you and understand what is your meaning. And if you can give some examples, because I know you have a connection with India and Calcutta and Mother Teresa. We'll come to that part when we come to that part as well. Rikard, tell me, I want to start with the first thing. What is presence? So let's divide. What is presence? Why is it such a crucial part of your book in establishing relationship. And the third part would be, give me some examples wherein you realize that how important this thing is and how you can cultivate. Let's start with presence.
Yeah.
What is presence?
Yeah, exactly. And I'm really happy that you asked that, because presence, that's the first chapter.
Yes.
That's the most important chapter.
Yeah.
It's not a coincidence that I put it first, because to me, it's the most important thing. Presence is, to put it short, is here and now. It's exactly now. It's exactly here. Because, and that's an art, you know. It's an art to be present. It's a hard work to be present, because we are bombarded with impressions. We are bombarded with inner thoughts, and we are bombarded with distractions. I will give you a little example. If you have a conversation and you have the person in front of you, and you talk and they answer, and they are there physically, after a little while, you get that little nagging feeling that they are not there. That little glance in the distance, that little too long pause, the too long waiting for the answer. And there is a very subtle thing, but you feel them. Why do you feel them? Because they are not there. They are there physically, but mentally they are on the dinner, on the soccer game, on the movie, but they are not there with you. And how do you feel? How do you feel when you realize that they are not there with you?
Neglected, not important.
Not seen, neglected. And how is that like make you feel?
Not worth.
Not exactly, not worthy, not encouraged, not being able to grow. We do the other thing. The situation when you meet that, I would say, that rare person, because they are rare these days, that give you their full attention, their full presence. They are there in the body, they are there in the mind, and they are focusing on you and what you say. How do you feel?
Fulfilled, heard, valued, a sense of belonging.
Exactly. I used to say, and I say that being fully present is two things. First, you are giving a gift to the other person, because it is a gift.
Beautiful.
And the other thing is, you are, by being present, you are creating a room. In that room, you let the other person grow, expand, be themselves, and magic happens, Raka.
Wow. That is such a powerful way to put it. I never thought it like that, that you're giving them a room in which they know that they are in a secured way, in a secured ecosystem.
Exactly.
And do you think that presence is the foundation of relationship, be it between a girlfriend and a boyfriend, a wife and a husband, a child and a father, a mother and a father, or a mother and a son? Do you think is this the foundation to feel?
Absolutely. I know it is, because I was the expert of not presence, but the other thing. I was not present for a long time. When I was during my surgical journey, I was very much in the beginning of that. I was very much occupied by that. So when I came home and I was with my family, I was either back at the hospital thinking about the things that I should have done and didn't do, or I was reflecting over that, or I was in the future. I was thinking about things that I was about to do, surgery that I was about to do. And there, sometimes the kids, they were like, "Oh, Dad, that's it." And I was a perfect example of being there, slow answering. Oh yeah, like, so it's not that I've been a perfect example of being a present person all the time. Uh, it's been a journey, and it's been a struggle, I would say, because it's hard work, and and I think it's definitely the foundation in every kind of relationship, being the parenting, being the loving relationships, and just general encounters when you meet people for the first time. Because I usually talk about one thing, and maybe we go back to that. I usually talk about the emotion we create in each other. That's the core thing, Raghav. You create something in me. I create something in you. We've never met, but this is not optional. We do that whether we want or not. And that emotion is the core thing of everything when it comes to relationships at work, co-workers, when it comes to customers, when it comes to students, when it comes to patients. They will not remember the words. They will not remember the food. They will not remember the hotel room. Of course they do. But the main reason you come back is the emotion that was created. And it's so important, because with small steps, you can create a totally different emotion in people by thinking about those things. Raghav, you look like,
Because this is very,
but
you're so right. And you also said that there are very few people who are like that. And so how my mind works is that, as you said, that you were not present whenever, even if you were with your family, your son used to say something or the other used to go in the back of your mind regarding something related to your profession, related to your business, or anything else. My point is, let's take it very mathematically.
yeah,
How do you become aware of the fact that you are not present? How do you take people from being ignorant to at least realizing that there is something that they need to fix? How do you bridge that gap? How can I do it in my life as well?
I would say that I think the best thing is just do uh, small tests, and just stop whatever you do. Just stop and realize that, just like, do an objective evaluation of your thoughts, the situation. And then you, in a blink of an eye, will realize that, yeah, oh, this is good. My thoughts are in this situation. I'm fully present. Or if you're not, you will realize that so fast, because then you will realize, because you know what you're thinking and you know the situation. So if you're talking to a person and then you stop and like, what am I thinking about? Yeah, I'm thinking about the soccer game. Yeah, of course. Okay, so is it? No, maybe not. You will immediately realize, but you have to do that. You have to like do that. Let's like do a little test here and there, and then you will realize that. But and if you and when you start doing that, you will get that habit, and then you calibrate, and then you realize that, yeah, now I'm like, and then the next step is you realize when you are going off of the ordinary. So now I'm like, no, go back, kind of like. But that's a process. But start with the first thing, and that's your question: how to realize it from the start, you know. So just do that little test and see. Yeah, it will
Is
show.
so is presence, because in the day and age that we are living in today, being present is also associated in a way with the concept of mindfulness. Do you think there is a connection, or there is a similarity being
Absolutely.
mindful? Because
Yeah.
mindfulness in today's time is something that is associated with some higher level of spiritual practices, be it Buddhist practices, be it, you know, the Indian practices and all that stuff, be it
Absolutely.
be mind. Do you think
Absolutely.
that there's
Yeah.
a relationship between that can cultivate?
Absolutely, absolutely. And this is really mindfulness, because mindfulness is really being present. So that's the thing. Being mindful is being in the moment. Yeah.
So that means then presence, being present, or being mindful can act as a skill that I can hone, that I can develop. So that means there
Exactly.
is, yes, so there is no room for excuse by saying no, it's not in my nature, this is how I am just constituted. Then you do not have reasoning when you say ki no, it's something that you can develop. There are esoteric practices, or you know, therapeutic practices wherein you can develop that mindfulness. I think that is where people go astray when they say,
Yeah.
oh, you know, Raghav, I'm not like that, it's not my nature, I can't help it. That's the buck stops there. They stop. They really do not want to go there because they feel that this is not something that you can develop. This is something that has to be innately present in your nature, in your upbringing, in your.
Exactly. And the thing is that it might be a kind of like a nice excuse not going there, because I'm
Yes.
not the type. I'm not the type, you know. So yeah, maybe for others, but because then we go back to the part where it comes to the hard work, you know. It's not coming from heaven like today I'm present. You have to put in the work.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that is
But
what your.
the reward is so big.
Yeah. I think it's transformative. I think even if somebody can get a grasp on being present, that will
Yeah,
profoundly impact their entire
yeah,
ecosystem.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And it's two things. First, it will improve, but then it will lead to the next step, because then you realize that there is a potential here. It's like opening a door a little bit and like look in. It's like, oh, what's there? It might be something really, really good.
But one problem I see in today's time, and I think it's very important to discuss that thing,
Hmm.
technology. What I see as a problem is that its invasiveness of the technology is so strong, and something that even my parents' generation are not able to ignore that. Do you really feel that yes, though we have these technological advancements that are taking place, but it has had a very severe effect, because of which we are not able to cultivate these things? Do you think that because we are distracted by consuming short content, by scrolling, and because of the way these apps are developed? So I really want to take a very neutral perspective. I don't want to bash technology, but I want to understand your perspective. Has technology really dented it somewhere? Is it really a very powerful force which is working against it? What's your take on that?
I would say that I am. I think that technology it's amazing. It's totally amazing, and the development and the slope where we are, the curve, it's amazing. We are living in a time right now that that's it's really special, because we have amazing advantages. So I am, as you say, I'm definitely not talking about technology. I'm not talking about social media. I'm not talking about the whole concept, because there is enormous potential there. what I want people to realize is that it's not a coincidence that you start looking for something to buy online, ending up half an hour later on something totally different. Yeah. We've all been there.
Absolutely.
And that is not a coincidence, because the algorithms are created by very many and very bright minds to take as much as possible of our biggest asset, the time and the presence. So it's not a coincidence.
So it's in a way intentional. That is their, what do you call, the statement of purpose. That is what they were hired to do.
Absolutely. And they want us there as long as possible.
And do you think practices like meditation can help in cultivating mindfulness, which eventually can lead you to having Absolutely. A better presence, right?
When people ask me, I say, just start with one super simple practice. Just sit down, be quiet, and if you want to, just close your eyes and just listen to your breathing.
Beautiful.
In and out. In and out. And thoughts, they will go and they will come, and you come back to the breathing. There is nothing strange with that. We all breathe. But after a while, you realize that you relax. And and I think, Raghav, I think it's amazing. Me sitting and talking to an Indian man.
Absolutely.
A little Swedish vascular surgeon. But I have, so that's, I'm really grateful for being here, Raghav. Sometimes I think during the conversation, I realize that I'm really, really happy that you invited me.
Yeah. No, amazing. That is very brilliant. Rikard, I'm not going in any order, but the next, one of the important, another trait or thing that you've spoken about in a book, which can help people have better relations and, skills and everything, is kindness. Now, there's a reason why I'm selecting kindness, because I'll share with you a personal anecdote. I was, I've had I've had a relationship in which it was not a very happy relationship. And when I was navigating the turmoils of the relationship, I stumbled upon the concept of kindness. I read a lot of book on kindness, and I told myself that kindness is a superpower. Kindness is something which can really melt a rock. It can do miracles, it can turn things around, and that it can change people. Now, what happened? I went deep into the rabbit hole of the theoretical part of kindness. Then that translated into the practicality of kindness. And soon, I realized that I became a doormat. And this is something that you mentioned in a book as well, in the kindness part. I was very happy that because you have also mentioned that some people will tell you that this is not a superpower, that people can use you as a doormat, that there has to be a limit to that. And then there was a time wherein I was very averse and repelled by the concept of kindness. And then I realized you need some level of self-defense. Self-defense not in form of a martial art, but self-defense in a way wherein you are able to protect your identity and sanctity. So my question follows like this. What is kindness? I really want you to break down kindness, wherein I also want to understand the limits of kindness, the do's and don'ts of kindness. I don't want to lose myself by cultivating kindness. And is kindness really, really a superpower that people should cultivate?
First of all, we can start with that, the distinction. I would say that a lot of people they mix up two things. They mix up kindness with weakness,
Yes.
and that's the doormat part. You know, if I'm kind, people will do whatever they want. They will say they will. I kind of like lose myself, and that's kind of a little bit what you kind of like did, I think, without knowing that you kind of like, who am I in this? I'm trying to be kind, and all of a sudden I'm not like kind of like keeping the core of myself. So first of all, this is first of all the distinction between kindness and weakness. There is absolutely no relationship between kindness and weakness. That make that clear. You know, it's not the same thing. It's absolutely not the same thing. Because I totally agree, and I'm positive that kindness is a superpower in the real essence. But it's also, as you say, that superpower has to be protected, so you don't delude yourself on the expense of that. Two different things, you know. You have to be aware of your self-existence. You have to be aware of your integrity. You have to be protecting yourself in a way, but you can still be kind. That's the thing. I have a very high integrity. I can be very direct, especially in my work. Sometimes I have to be. As a surgeon, you have to show your whole hand. There is a life and death situation. You take leadership, you take control, all that. And people know that. I would say people who knows me, they know that I am the least the doormat. They will, if they try to use me as a doormat, they will realize that that mat was not to be stepped on, kind of. But I think that I still am a very, very kind person. And I realize that I've always tried to be kind, to help people if I can, or just like doing like things to be nice. It's not like that I think that now I'm gonna be nice. I it's part of my kind of like way of being. But I think that all of those areas that you were talking about, they can be improved by being kind. It's all about that emotion that we create. And there are few things that are so powerful. I mean, like, think back. Think about the people during your upbringing or your prior life that's been really kind to you. Think about one person, and just like go back and reflect. And what emotion is awakened in you when you think about that person?
Very gratitude that somebody did show that kindness. Again, same thing, security, and also something that I should emulate. This is something that could be given forward.
Exactly. And I mean, like, whatever you do at work, and on your spare time, and when you're doing like sports, when if you're at the gym, if you actually gym and be kind and help someone, and they will like, they will remember you when you come back, and they will, hi, like, yeah, and you create something. I will tell you a little story. What happened 2 weeks ago? I was walking home from work. I was passing a petrol station, and it was a beautiful spring day. The sun was shining. I was craving an ice cream. So I went into the petrol station to buy an ice cream. I was standing there in the line. There were two men in front of me. The first one was like an older man, and he asked, and then there was another man, and then the first man, he asked, "Can I pay with? I have some problem with the card. Can I pay with spare change?" I said, "Yeah, of course." And he tried to count, and it wasn't really enough. So I heard that and said, "So how much is it?" And then I don't really remember how it was, but it was not much. But I said, I pay. So I took my card and paid for him. And he was very grateful. And I stepped back into my position in the line. And we talk about that kindness is contagious. But what happened now is it's really amazingly contagious. Because when I stepped back in my position in the line, the guy in front of me, he said, "That was very kind of you. You can step in front of me." I paid for my ice cream, and the guy behind the counter said, "That was very nice of you. Grab a cup of coffee on your way out." In 15 seconds, Raja, it spread to those two people. I put that post on LinkedIn. It got, I think it got like 4,300 hearts and thumbs up, and 230,000 showings. Because something happens.
I was about to ask you, and I think in a way you have answered. What I was about to ask you is on the similar lines of presence. So, as we discussed, that presence is something that could be cultivated, could be learned. I was about to ask you, is kindness also something that somebody could learn, somebody could cultivate? But I guess you have answered it in a very beautiful way, indirectly though, that it spreads.
Exactly, and you know that the levels of serotonin, the neurotransmitter, it raises when you see an act of kindness.
That is beautiful.
It's
Wow.
yeah, it is.
I had no idea. Oh wow.
Yeah. So it's really just by observing, you're not really involved. You just look at it.
So I think two things are happening. Yeah, I think two things are happening. The one who's doing the act of kindness, he or she is also feeling empowered and whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
And the others who are watching it,
the help is high,
Yes.
Yeah.
The help is high. And the others who are witnessing, they are also getting a release of serotonin, as you rightly said, and that is what is making them feel amazing.
Yeah.
This is brilliant.
And it's a ripple effect.
It's a ripple effect. It can spread.
What's happening with them when they come home? When they go into a shop, they maybe hold the door for someone who's getting happy, and hold the door for another person and say hi and smile. And then one simple act.
But you also said something amazing, and I want to ask you more on that. You also said that you need to guard the kindness. You need to guard your kindness. Rikard, I failed at that. How do you guard your kindness? Is there something that people can be mindful of? How do you distinguish that where you need to guard it and where you do not? I might not guard it for my son, or child, because I'm like, oh, it's very small, it's just a kid, doesn't matter. But I might need to guard it with any other kind and type of relationship. So how do you get that sense of when I need to protect my kindness? Because I would want what you have. I'm jealous of you. I want that. Yes, people should look at me and say, "Ki, oh, Raghav is kind, but you cannot treat him like a doormat. When he needs to guard it, he guards it." How can one do that? Really help me.
I think, yeah, but I think that, and I kind of like go into a topic that I was hoping that we will talk about, and but I go ahead a little bit, and that is the relationship with yourself.
That's the next section that I was about to ask you.
Perfect, perfect. So we jump into that a little bit because it's a crucial part of the thing. First of all, the most important interaction, the most important meeting is the one with yourself. It's really, really, really so important to go inside, to think about, who am I? What's important to me? Where am I in this world? What kind of person want I to be? And that is no shortcut going there. And then we go into I use that chapter, which is also very important to me, and that's silence. You have to be with yourself. A lot of people, they don't know themselves, they don't like themselves, they have not a really, really good relationship with themselves. But that's the most important thing, that is to cultivate that relationship with yourself, because that is the foundation when it comes to your question regarding that. You have to realize what it is. What's important to me? Who am I? And when you realize that, I usually say that a measure about how good your life is the distance between your inner life, your dreams, your hopes, your inner life, and the way you live your outer life. The shorter the distance, the better life. The longer the distance, the not so happy life, because that life is filled with frustration. That one is not aligned with that one. But when you cultivate a good relationship with yourself, and the best is if you can find such a good relationship that you become your own best friend. If you do that, you realize when that inner you is threatened or stepped upon. And then you can put your foot down and say, no, I cannot allow this. I can still be kind, but now you are crossing a border that it's not good for me. And I think that's very, very important. Because if you are aligned with yourself, if you are liking yourself, you can be super kind and still protect your borders.
But people,
as simple as that.
But people are, including me, so scared of being with themselves, because it goes against their social conditioning of being a community driven sapien or being.
Exactly.
They associate in a lot of, because in today's day and age, loneliness is associated with a pandemic or an epidemic, whatever is the proportion. And a lot of people then think, oh, loneliness then stems from being with yourself, because that is something which is unhandleable.
Exactly.
It is unhandleable.
Exactly.
So why should we poke the
Exactly.
bear? Why should we put our hand when the tiger is eating something? It's gonna bite me. We are so scared, and I struggle so deeply with being with myself, so deeply. And you know what really never allows me to connect with myself is the social statuses of people on various social media platform. I find it increasingly difficult to eliminate that, or increasingly difficult to just sit and think what I want. And because I know what you're saying is right, being with yourself and understanding is the foundation. If that is not there, again, I was asking you, how do you know if you're not present? Because if you don't know your system, you will never understand where you're lacking, what you need to do, who you are, what you are not. And that is why in my questionnaire, being with yourself, it might sound very paradoxical, that how can being with yourself enable you to have connections with people, because it is the opposite of that. But as you rightly said, it is a foundation. Did it did you work on it? When you were on a journey to be with yourself, or to truly understand who you are, did you find it difficult? Were there a lot of demons that you yourself had to defeat? How was that journey for you like, and how did you overcome? How did you truly make peace with yourself, that I know now who I am? I'm sure you must have had your fair share of loneliness, of lot of ups and
Absolutely.
downs. So what did you do that really helped you
Absolutely.
to understand yourself?
Yeah, and that is also, it's a very good question, and it's not easy. Of course, it's not easy because first of all, we all have a lot of demons inside, and the easiest thing is not to poke the bear, not to open the door. Keep them inside. I mean, like keep them quiet, hopefully, and just go on with your life. And why open that door? But I would say that to me it was, and I will. There was also one thing that externally helped me. I kind of like was an eye opener, and that was reading that book, The Top Five Regrets of the Dying. It's I don't know if you read it, but
No, I haven't. I
no,
might have
no,
heard the title, but I haven't read
yeah,
it. No.
yeah, no. But it's basically it's written by a woman in Australia, Bronnie Ware, who was working with palliative patients who was about to die, and she basically made a top five list of what people were regretting on their deathbeds. And the first thing on that list was, I am regretting that I did not live a life where I was true to myself. I was living a life where I was steered by the outer expectations of other people. And that struck me deeply in my heart. And that also made me change things in life. Because I don't want to lay on my, I mean, like I can die today. I don't know. But I don't want to lay on my deathbed, go back and realize that I was living someone else's life. And how can you know what's your life if you don't listen to that inside?
That is such a scary and a profound thing at the same time. It's very scary now that I'm thinking about it. Now that you're saying it, I don't know what to say. because
maybe you regret that you invited
yes,
me.
no,
You invited.
no. Sorry, not that.
No.
I didn't get that part. I am regretting that till now I have not been true to myself. That is why I was the
But
victim of being a doormat, because I was like,
yeah, yeah,
let's
yeah,
just please others, let's just,
yeah, yeah.
and it's very scary. That's why I say it's very scary.
It's scary, but it's also filled with an enormous potential, because in every given moment, Raghav, we can change. We can do it, and we can start now.
And we can do that without hurting anyone. That's important.
Exactly.
I don't
Yeah.
want to be a revolutionary. I don't want to revolt.
No. No.
That can
No.
happen in a very individualistic mannerism without affecting or without hurting anyone, right? I don't have to really get down on the streets with the, with the torch in my hand and a flame in my hand and say,
This is an inner thing, but it starts with the inner thing, because the way you are with yourself, the way your relationship with yourself will always affect the relationship you have with the people around you.
beautiful.
The more secure you are, the more aligned you are with yourself, the more you can take all the trouble, all the shit that comes from life. Because then you go back and you calibrate, and when things happen, when you make decisions, when you return to that, you calibrate. Is this aligned with that or not? If it's aligned, then go for it. If it's not, maybe I should think another time. But if we don't have that inner compass, if we don't have that inner voice listening to, how can we navigate on that ocean of life? It's hard. It's hard enough when we're aligned,
So when we find ourselves in situations wherein we know that we are alone, there is a way to flip that. There is a way to embrace it. So that means so there is a way wherein I can look at it from an opportunistic point of view, that now maybe I have an opportunity wherein I can maybe think about who am I.
Exactly.
So it's like a
And you
luxury.
can deliberately choose it. You can sometimes, just like if you're in a situation where when you can make a choice between like having the external and just be quiet, because just being quiet with yourself, it's a rarity today. People are scared for that, because what they might meet, but also with the, as you said, the expectations, they think that being quiet with yourself is synonymous with loneliness. It's not that.
Yeah.
You're choosing this. You're choosing being with yourself. Because the thing is, right, when you become friend with yourself, nothing in the world can be stronger than that. It will be the most important friendship you will ever have. And it will be the most powerful, because it will always be there. Whatever happens in the outer world, whatever happens, whatever struggles, you have your inner.
That's so beautiful. I never, that's amazing. I always used to avoid it. So I now want to talk to you about another vertical in the book that really amused me. And when I'm saying amusing, you can know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about humor. And I was very surprised to see, I mean, I was not surprised, but I wanted to know why is humor there? So my first question is, what is humor? And why did it find a mention in your book as one of the important, verticals?
I'm really happy that you bring it up because, I love humor. I love laughing. I really do that because to me, I think it's one of the most uh, powerful things when it comes to connecting with people. And I laugh a lot. I joke a lot. And I laugh a lot with my patients. I joke a lot with my patients, and I used to say that it's kind of like an art form. Sometimes it doesn't work, but works most of the time. And I use, and if we can start with that, we can start with my patient, with my work, using that. So I laughing and humor is universal. It really doesn't matter where you live. We all laugh. And when we laugh, I mean, like, think about yourself, brother. When you are laughing so much that your belly aches, your tears are coming, your cheeks are hurting, there is not many emotions that can beat that. Go straight in your soul. And if we do that together with another person, what's happening? We create something. We create something in each other that bonds us together. And when I talk to my patients, it's a when it comes to doctor-patient relationship, it's not equal. It's the we have an advantage as a doctor, of course, because the patients come to us and they want help, and it's very important that we realize that. But by joking, by laughing together, I show them that I really, really care. I show them that I want that warmth. So it's really, really something special. And I connect with them in a very, very deep sense, because they laugh and we laugh together. And that is just one thing that I can use, because when we meet, wherever we are, we in the laughter, something is happening. We bring each other together, and that is very, very special. And I even went so far, so I took a weekend course in stand-up comedy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
When was that? When was that? I mean, like,
That
when did
was
you do
after
that?
the book came out. And I think it was maybe 3 years ago. I went to Stockholm, and that was on the most famous stand-up club in Stockholm. So and there was a course during the weekend, and it ended with a performance in front of audience. Can you imagine? That was
No,
one of the scariest things. That
wow.
was one of the scariest thing I've ever done.
How did you perform?
But
How did you perform? How was it?
I think they were. I think it was quite good. At least some of the jokes. They were like they were laughing and they were clapping hands. But it was scary, because then we talk about direct feedback. If it's not fun, they will not laugh. And
So basically, it was crowd works, wherein you
yeah,
get the input from the
yeah,
crowd, whether a
yeah,
joke is
exactly.
funny or not.
Yeah, yeah. But the thing is that uh, laughing and because when we laugh together, it brings us together. And people are kind of like afraid of like using humor, using laughter when it comes to that.
Do you think laughter or humor is a very good entry point to knowing someone? Because once you do start a conversation with a humor or a joke, people do kind of let their guards down. And that opens up the
Absolutely.
possibility of knowing the other
Absolutely.
person. It's breaking the ice, as they say, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And and just think about yourself. It's if someone is like cracking a little joke and like everything is like, yeah, lighten up a little bit, and the kind of like the seriousness, and I in my perfect conversations, I I'm not afraid of like the laughter and the depth. So I go up and down, up and down. So, and that is like, it's like a dance, it's, you never know what's happening, but I know that it's, I mean, like, I know my colleagues, the ones that I laugh most together with, I most, I trust them most when I'm in a really, really serious situation, because we are connected, something is happening emotionally when we laugh. In the laughter, it's happening something. So I would say, like, don't be afraid of the laughter. Just embrace it. Like, laugh together, because think about the kids, they laugh all the time. And laughter is getting kind of like lost when we grow.
And I think people also tend to gravitate towards the person who makes people laugh. They want to have one or the other person within the group who can make them laugh. And I think
Yeah,
that's the reason why stand up comics are some of the most famous and
yeah,
popular and rich
yeah,
entertainers in the world.
yeah,
And
exactly.
and I
Because
also,
they
yeah.
pinpoint something.
Yes, absolutely. They
Hmm?
pinpoint something because
Hmm?
they, in the form of humor, can also poke the bear, and bear in being the political leaders, the situation, the
Yeah.
state.
Hmm?
They have that skill wherein they can
Hmm?
make that funny and yet have a social commentary on the society.
Yeah,
I haven't seen
exactly,
any other
exactly,
art form express that beautifully and bluntly as
exactly.
it is. Because right now, I'll tell you what is happening in India. In India, the government obviously, you know how the governments are, So right now, a lot of crackdowns are happening on comics. Comedians,
Oh.
yeah, a lot of crackdowns are happening on comics.
Hmm.
A lot of scrutiny is happening on comics. You say something, a government would get agitated and angry, and they'll take it on the ego. They'll go to that comedy club and they'll ransack it, they'll tear it down, they will fire
Hmm.
FIRs against
Hmm.
the comic. It is so bad. And we are
Hmm.
we are we are a democratic country, and it doesn't make sense
Hmm.
that you are
Hmm.
living in the world's largest democracy and you're not
Yeah.
allowing somebody to voice their opinion when they
No.
when they're getting paid for that. It's not as if he's performing that on the
No.
streets.
No. No. No.
People
No.
purchased for a show, they went and they
Hmm.
paid for that act.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That is something that, so I always used to find it very, that humor is a very powerful and a very profound tool that could be used to build connections and to also show people the reality of things around them. I think that's,
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And I think the best kind of humor is to kind of like pinpointing small things in life, kind of like, and then enhance it. That's my favorite part. When I see like a small detail, I spotlight it and like bring it out to bring it to attention. And it's like,
yeah. uh,
yeah,
Rikard, now I want something very
yep,
important to discuss with you. This is
yep,
for all the Indian viewers out there. As an Indian, I want to admit something. We know not much about Mother Teresa. We know. I
yep.
want you to tell me about your life and times in India. What was it like working with for Mother Teresa? I just want you to explain and talk about your experiences. What did you do when you were here? What did you take away from this country? What did you learn? What did you saw? How was Mother Teresa? Why we love her? Why we respect her? What was her aim? If you can just talk, just tell a story about that.
First of all, that was many years ago. So I went to India when that was in 1989, and I was 22 years old, and I read about Mother Teresa, and I was thinking a lot about like doing good, like helping people. So, and I I was I was kind of like I was thinking that if I can go to India and help in some way, I will do that. So I traveled to. I was traveling in Thailand, and then I traveled to Kolkata, or Kolkata now. And first of all, that was my first impression of India. Uh, During the 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 ride from the airport into central Calcutta, and it was it was dark, but that was my first. It was kind of like overwhelming. It was all the colors, all the impressions. So and so and then I stayed at in Calcutta for 4 weeks, and I did volunteer work at Kalighat, where she had the home for the dying and destitute, the Nirmal Hirdai, I think, and I was just doing like basic things. Feeding people, helping them, cleaning and shaving, and so and then I got sick, and then I got
I can
diarrhea,
understand
and
that.
therefore,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So then but that's another story. But that was okay. So, but I couldn't meet Mother Teresa on that occasion because she was hospitalized. She was in the hospital for some heart condition. So the first visit in India, that was 89. I went to Kolkata, and then I went to Delhi, and then so that was just two, and then I returned on 4 years later. That was 93. So then I did a little longer trip, and then I went up uh, to Himachal Pradesh, to Dharamsala, and tried to meet Dalai Lama there,
Dalai
but he
Lama.
was on a retreat. Yeah, and then I went down to Agra, and then I went to Varanasi. Varanasi was a special place to me because I've been interested in yoga and meditation for a long time.
Oh, yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So coming to Varanasi or Benares, that was really special, and I will go back to that city for a little. I come back to that. So then I went to Bulgaria, and then I went to Kolkata again to try to meet, not to work, but just to meet her. And then I had the opportunity to meet her at the mother's house, who was the administration house. And it was, I mean, like there are a lot of, I know that there are controversies about Mount Teresa, and
Absolutely. I
not
was about to
everybody.
say that.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's a
yeah,
lot of
yeah,
controversy.
yeah, yeah. I know that. So, but I think to me, it's important to. I was, I didn't know about the controversies. I didn't know about. I was just trying to, like, in some way help. Um, that was the basic thing. So I didn't know about the controversies, the political thing, and that. So to me, it was more like finding a way to help in a country that I really, because the second time I went to India, I really went back because I love the country. I was so happy to be there and meet all the people, and so that was special. So then I went from Kolkata to Darjeeling, and then to Sikkim, and then to Nepal. So that was, and the whole thing about India that I really, it's, I think it's, I think it's so much. It's it's a mixture between the old ancient culture and the bustling, striving energy of today's. I mean, like I haven't been to India for many years now, but I hope to be able to go back. And but it's so much, and it's like this enormous energy that I really admire. And and I also when I went to Varanasi, I met my yoga guru. So I've been doing yoga, and then I reconnected with him many years ago. No, many years after. So I reconnected with him, and that was special.
So
So,
you
but
continue your yoga practice? I mean, you when you say you do yoga, that is meditations and the asanas and the sequence. That is
yep,
something.
yep, yep. So and my yoga teacher, he emigrated to Australia. So I actually met him last year, and I haven't met him for 32 years.
How
So
was it?
that's
How was it meeting him after so many years?
that was very special. It was very special. So it was very emotional.
I can understand that because doing something for so many times and getting that knowledge from someone and meeting your guru after
Mm.
so many years can really get out a lot of emotions from someone.
Yeah,
Has
yeah,
your has the physical practice of yoga, because you come from a medical background, I think it adds more weightage. Do you feel it has really benefited more or less your
yeah,
entire physicality? Does it
yeah,
really
absolutely.
really benefit that
I
way?
think so. Yeah, I think so. I think so. To me, it's very, and I've been doing it like intermittently, so I haven't not like been like doing like all the time. But to me, it's very, when I do it, and those times when I do it, I really feel it's different. So to me, it's good. But and it's very popular now. I mean, like when I started, that was many years ago. Now it's very, I would say it's very popular, and it's very many different like styles and stuff. But yeah, I think to me it's good.
That's great. Thank you so much for sharing the story. It's when people come to know that your connection with the country, really a lot of things happen. They after listening, people will say, "Oh, he's just one of us." That's what people want in this today's time. They don't
Yes,
want to look at anybody and say, "Oh, he's from Sweden, I'm from India," and that is what we try to break down. Ki we are all same. We are all just
yeah,
connected. It's
exactly.
just that the stories people don't know. That's it.
Exactly. Yeah, but that's really the thing, and that kind of like pinpoints the most important thing, that we are humans,
Yeah.
that we are, and I really I really hope to be invited to India to maybe, yeah, give some talks, and maybe some, because that would be amazing to get back. And
Absolutely.
yeah,
Rikard, this
yeah.
this has been beautiful, and I wish you all the best. And thank you
Thank you
again
so much.
for accepting to be a part of the podcast. It's just our honor and our pleasure that we had to, we get to host you. And thank you.
Absolutely, and thank you so much, Raghav. It's really been a very nice moment, and I thank you so much for your engagement. You are creating something really good in me, and you're a combination of warmth and curiosity, and I really appreciate that,
Thank you so
because
much.
it's really special, and it's very special that you are for real, uh, and I really feel that, and I really appreciate that, once again, thank you so much for
That's
inviting me.
as to sum up, that's the kindest thing somebody has ever said to me.